On today's tips and tricks, we're going to cover a relatively unknown Bowie knife technique known as the mountain man grip, or edge in, blade up. Now, why would anybody use a large knife like this in this fashion? Now, typically, most modern interpretations of Bowie knife fighting come out of European Saber. So what we get is very Saber-like movements and very Saber-like strategies. In fact, the basic guards with a Bowie knife are European Saber guards. The quick attacks, if you'd like to call them that, the snap cut, the back cut, these are Saber techniques. But that's a dueling style. And what you should experiment and play with is mountain man style. Mountain man style is the reverse grip, well, reverse edge in. And it allows a large knife like this to become much more usable in extreme close combat. The edge in doesn't change any of your techniques like the snap cut or the back cut. But the advantage it gives you is off a thrust, you're now able to use your body weight, your hips, your lats to rip this cutting edge out of your opponent. So when you go from the extreme largo range of dueling to up close, you have the ability to rip. Now this also works really well on parries and dealing with anything coming in from the right side. Typically, we would block and then repost. But with the edge in, we don't block, we void and cut and fillet that arm as it gets pulled back. We reach around behind our opponents and slice. We target their eyes. We target their arms. We target their weapon hand. All very useful in that extreme close combat. When you get into grappling range and you're on top of your opponent, that's where this really shines. Because now you're hooking with it, you're pulling with it, you're thrusting up with it and ripping out. So it's more of a methodology applied to a strategy. I suggest you get out there with your training partners. Get a training knife, not a live blade, and play with these techniques. Add them to your repertoire. It's a very unique American method of using the knife, and I think you'll learn a lot playing with it. So y'all take care and have a good one.
Hi there, I am Saji David Daniel. It's nice to meet you. I'll be teaching the Kukri portion of our Learning the Comparison seminar that is coming up in March 2025 in Orlando, Florida. I hope to see you there. I teach a martial art called Bando, which comes from Burma, or now known as Myanmar. And this art was originally brought to the United States in the late 1950s by my teacher, Mahasaji Dr. Umanji. And it's a very comprehensive system containing edge weapon systems, stick systems, empty hand systems that range from full contact kickboxing, grappling, and all the way to nonviolent and healing-oriented systems as well. So it's a very beautiful and comprehensive system. I hope to share some of it with you. So the kukri can be a very powerful weapon. It's like a boxer's cross. Sometimes people learning and they start off weak, but then when you develop it, you see professional. It's a very, very powerful weapon with tremendous potential. And I'll be teaching power generation and also how to protect yourself with it. I'll be going through applications of the system so that you know what you're doing, the movements are for. So I hope to see you there. If you have any questions, please reach out. I'd be happy to talk to you.
Hey, today we're going to talk about the basic guard stance and the importance of alignment. Roman, could you please get into stance? Yes? This stance is what some people call a candelabra guard. It's designed for heavy sabers. The hand is down, the point is up and towards the opponent's eyes, and the weapon covers the fencer's midline. Left hand is back as if holding the scabbard. It's really embarrassing to lose a duel because you tripped over your own scabbard. Not going to get you talked about in a good way. There are, however, some subtleties we need to pay attention to in this stance. The first of which is we want this saber to be dead down our center line with the hand in front of our torso. So we want it to be here so that if someone thrusts, they cannot simply go boink into the abdominal aorta. That's a bad day for us, but not a very long one. By doing that and bringing the shoulder slightly forward, we now present our opponent with a stance where they have to pick a side. By forcing our opponent to pick a side, all we have to do to begin our blocks, which you can see in another video, is turn towards the side the thrust or the cut is coming from. Makes it very, very easy on us. You want to have your feet roughly 50-50, and generally speaking, you want to have your toes facing the opponent. If your back leg tends to cock out a little bit because of the way you organize your lower back and your pelvis and your hips, that's not a big deal. High bar, point toes towards enemy. Medium bar, anything else goes. Try not to tuck your heel all the way forward like in a fencing stance with the 90-degree feet. If you do that, you will have a tendency, can you kick your toes out towards where my feet is? The other direction? You will have a tendency, as he just did, to pull this shoulder back. When that happens, all of this becomes exposed, and I no longer have to pick a side when I attack him. Come back to stance, please. By keeping this shoulder forward and keeping this weapon dead down the center, now the opponent has to go one way or the other because thrusting right into this guard is a fool's game. He'll simply poke you back. And Roman definitely wants to poke you back. Made you laugh, haha. So pay attention to this. It is really, really important. And the primary reason that beginners get hit once they start sparring is they let the shoulder drift back or they try to make themselves safe by pushing a little bit out to the side. Stay in the center. It's counterintuitive as hell, and it's what makes our lineage a little bit unusual, but you will be much more secure as a fencer, and you will double an awful lot less with your friends. Thanks. Happy fencing.
Our first drill, we are going to be working in conjunction with the backhand strike, a kick with the rear leg. They are both traveling in the same direction. The receiving person is the metronome. He's simply going to go forehand diagonal and backhand diagonal. The distance is second distance. If we start at the range of sombrata or hubad, maybe a range quarto range, because that's our habit that's what we're always doing when we're training with a partner. We just simply walk up to each other and start trying to do this drill at this range. We're not going to feel the material making sense. It won't. It's not for this range. The material is to get us across the triangle from the third dimension. where his bubble and my bubble collide. This is where most fights really start. How do I get past this? So we're looking to cover distance and use this kick. So the first thing I do is on the backhand is I step into the angle. I do not, as we discussed a moment ago, step straight towards the leg, because if I do that, in the moment that I kick, my balance is weak. I step off the line, I step on the diagonal, and do it. I make sure that I do not skip and congratulate myself because whack. I keep going and have a cover hit on my way out. And now that I have a sense of it, I let Benjamin get a sense of it. So he practices. So, boom, and he covers on the way out. I wait, I feel my groove. Boom. Boom. Benjamin when he's ready. Boom. Now, the scene here, why isn't he hitting here? Only me right now. Why doesn't he hit me in the leg when I kick? Hit me in the leg when I kick. Boom. Boom. He has a safety issue for his intelligence.
Hi guys, Tom McGrath here. I wanted to give you a brief overview of my short sword course, which is designed to help people transition between knife-sized tools and a full-length sword in the Tertia system. So here's the core beginning set I use. 4 diagonals starting with reverse 1, and then 2, 3, 4, then 2 horizontals of 5 and 6. 7 is a vertical with the heel palm, 8 is a low line thrust, 9 is a high line thrust, 10 are 2 vertical cuts on a diagonal angle going to his weapon side, opponent's weapon side shoulder, and then double digits are going to be 2 cuts. So that was 10, 11 is a 1, followed by reverse 1, and then 12 is a horizontal cut from behind his arm, downward cut, uppercut. So on Bob here, it's gonna be reverse 1, collarbone, collarbone, arm, arm, head, head, or neck, depending what kind of tool you have. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And you'll see me, I like to start these with the left hand on the wrist. We call this double force technique. It gives you more power and control over these heavier weapons. And it's also a safety factor if you're transitioning from a long sword with a certain amount of length, or especially a long stick. You have good control over that blade edge, and you're not likely to cut yourself with it, especially blades that may be shorter than your stick. You don't want to come in and have that point or back edge come into your body. So starting with double force gives you more control, and you're basically staying away from your body with that. So that's our core base set.